It's a pleasure to be able to come and speak with you at Bio20 2020 via this virtual environment. And as I was saying a minute ago, a real testament to Richard and the amazing team at B4 for still making Bio 2020 happen despite the lockdown situation. I think that's a real credit and testament to staying positive and never giving up, which is a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, before I start, I just want to say that I am not a business coach, nor am I a life coach. As a profession, as Mike said, I am the founder and CEO of a tech company called Storm Internet. However, in the context of this talk I'm going to be giving today, I will describe myself more as a student of life. Now, there's still a lot I don't know. However, there are a few things I do know, and it's this that I want to share with you. The things that I've learned from a great number of speakers and people I admire that have gone before me, along with some of my own experiences and takes on things that I've discovered on this journey that we all go through called life. And really my aim of this presentation is just to show you that when you've got a purpose, when you're driven by something that really makes you happy and it's something that you really care about, combined with some understanding of some fundamental, I'd say, life rules, there really is absolutely nothing that can stop you from getting where you want to go and you know, being where you want to be. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you and reasons why I feel that way. Now, I've only got 20 minutes. I think I've used up 2 just for that intro. So I'm going to get right into it with my first slide, which is this one here. Right. So one of my favorite quotes. So that dream that you're holding in your mind, no matter how far-fetched it may be, the one thing we can say is that it's possible. Not only is it possible, but it's necessary for you to have it. That's by Les Brown, who's one of my favorite speakers. And I completely agree with him. And the reason I'm using this slide as my first one is because it forms really the basis of everything I'm going to talk about next. The reason for it is that in order to be truly fulfilled and happy in life, there's a condition. And the condition really is, it's all about personal growth. You need to grow. And in order to grow as much as possible, you need to have a purpose that drives you. And the purpose that's going to drive you the most is that dream that you're holding in your mind. So that's what'll start with that. And it takes me on to my first slide, the power of purpose. Now, somebody's been called in by my little girl. She helped me do it. In fact, she did them all. I just gave her the slides and she might have me watching here today. The power of purpose. So what we got here is, you know, what is purpose? And I want to start by saying that, you know, purpose is an extremely personal thing. It's as individual and unique to each of us as we are individuals ourselves. You know, for some, it's going to be about making a business. For some, it's going to be making lots of money. For some, it's going to be maybe opening a restaurant or a bar in the Med. And for some, it's going to have absolutely nothing to do with, you know, business whatsoever. It's going to be, you know, dedicated to a cause that really means a lot to them. So my point here really, the purpose, it starts with something that is important to you, something that really means a lot to you, and that's important. And it's really, you know, finding out what makes you happy. Because when you've got that, when you find that, what that does is it creates a pull energy, and a pull energy, it draws you towards it. It's a very compelling reason. It's like, you know, you've got my guy, enthusiastic chap here, bouncing out of bed before the alarm even goes off, you know, because he's really eager to get on with his day and, you know, work towards those goals. So, you know, it creates this pull energy as opposed to a push energy. I'll give a quick example. A push, that's something that, say, requires willpower. Dieting, for example, you're looking more at, you know, well, you can't get, so I can't eat this and I can't have that. So push energy, it's not as compelling. It requires willpower, and that tends to be short-lived. But pull, it pulls you towards it. It's longer lasting, and it's going to give you that energy and drive to keep pursuing that goal and keep going. And most importantly, it's going to give you the energy to keep going when the hard times come. And that's important because you're going to then still be able to, you know, soldier on through that and get through those hard times and continue on your vision. So I say, my first point is find, you know, those that are on it, you know, find what makes you happy, what truly makes you happy. No matter how crazy it may sound to anyone else, it's all about what matters to you. Find that purpose and pursuit of everything you've got. So number 2, clarity plus focus equals momentum. A little formula I came up with. So clearly having all the purpose and desire in the world isn't going to happen unless you've got a plan. So here we're talking about mapping out your major goal and your sub goals, and, you know, really mapping out that path to get you there. Now, this isn't a session on goal setting because clearly that's a big subject in itself. And to be honest with you, want some help with that, I'd recommend you speak to my good friend Mike Foster, who can definitely help you with some goal setting there. But the purpose of what I'm saying today is really just mapping out that path, clearly define your goals. So that, you know, you're focused on getting where you want to go. you cannot drift to the top of the mountain. You've got to really focus on that. And my illustration there is, you got to have that laser-like focus on your goals. So, watching out for the distractions. Don't get caught up in small stuff, because if you do, you're going to get blown off your tightrope, as these gusts of winds are trying to indicate, and you might have to start all over again. So keep that laser-like focus where you want to go and pursue that, and choose your battles carefully. And finally, have the persistence of an ant. And what do I mean by that? I heard this analogy the other day, and I thought it's fantastic. If you put a pebble in front of an ant, it will try and go round it. If it can't go round it, it will try and go over it. If it can't go over it, it will try and lift it. If it's unable to lift it, it will try and dig a tunnel underneath that pebble. If it still can't do that, it will call more ants and get some more friends, and they'll try and move it together. If together all them ants can't move that pebble, they will literally start trying to take tiny little bites out of that pebble and bore their way through it. They will literally keep on going until they're dead. Now, I don't tend to find many dead ants running around when I'm out for my walks and when I buy pebbles or walls. And what does that tell me? It tells me the ant always finds a way through his obstacles. So my point is, if we all had a persistence of an ant, imagine we took that kind of attitude to every single obstacle we faced, we'd steamroll through them all. So have the persistence of an ant. Use the winters. We're getting into the deeper stuff now. If I asked you, how are things going to be in 10 years' time? What would you say? You know what? I can tell you how they're going to be. Pretty much the same as they are now. But you're glad you tuned in for that breakthrough thought today. Now, I'm serious. Sure, the technology is going to change, but people's attitudes and situations we all face, really, that's not going to change, because it hasn't for the past 10,000 years we've known about. And if you look at life, it goes in cycles. We have the seasons, like that. For example, the sun comes up each day, it goes down, it comes back up, it goes down. Tide comes in, tide comes out. We hit a recession, and then we have progression again. Conservative government come in, they stay for a while, and then Labour's in. Then it's Conservative, then it's Labour. Pound goes up, pound goes down. It happens all the time. We're constantly in this situation, where events, they go in cycles. And obviously, we have to mention the one we're in at the moment with the COVID situation. The way I look at it is, ultimately, it's not really different in terms of its effect on us as individuals, the majority of us, to what we've already been through already. We've all been through recessions and we've survived. I started my business in one, not intentionally, but I did. And, I'm still here. And we go through them. So really the point of this really is that, there's going to be many, many situations in our life that are completely outside of our control. We can't do nothing about. But what we can control is how we react to those situations and what we do. So I say use the winters, use the time to plan and strategize, during those hard times, those winters as we're in now, because, time's the most precious commodity any of us have. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever seen the film Avengers Endgame, but I watched it a while ago, and there's a beautiful line in it. And it says, no amount of money ever bought a second of time. Love that, powerful. And it's so true, so don't wish for an uncertain time to be over. Don't wish for this phase to be gone. So use it. There are positives to be found. Use that time, because once that time goes, you will never, ever get it back again. Use it because the spring is coming. Plan for it. We're going to be here again soon, and we will hit a recession, sure, but we'll come out of it again. Use that time positively, productively. Spring's coming, the summer's coming. We're going to be, back in happy times again. So use the winters. Embrace uncertainty. This is one of my favorites. Your brain is the end product of more than 2 million years of evolution. Its job is to keep you alive. It does not care if you are happy. It will view every single unknown situation as something that could potentially be trying to kill you. Now, you need to understand that, because if you understand that, you can manage it. And if you can manage it, you can control it. Your mind, it's the most powerful asset any of us have. It will either eat you alive or it will make you unstoppable. And how that pans out really just tends to be about how you manage it. So I say, uncertainty, obviously it's vital in keeping us alive, but it's also vital for growth. We need it. In fact, it's one of the basic human needs. Because the thing is, when you're in an uncertain situation, you're pushed right out of your comfort zone. You're in a situation you never faced before. So when you're in that situation and you're forced to deal with it and you overcome that, you know, we've all been there. Wow, that's when you get a real sense of satisfaction. That's where the growth happens. That's where you develop the most. At those uncertain times when you dig deep, you overcome them, you know, that's when you grow. So that's why I say embrace uncertainty. It's, you know, it's an irony. It kind of keeps us in one way. We don't, but we actually need it in our lives. So my point on that is be a warrior, not a worrier. Confidence and belief. Quite a powerful image there, the little kitten looking at the and seeing his reflection back as a lion. Now clearly all this taught means nothing unless you got, you know, confidence and belief. And it's interesting because I hear a lot of people, they say to me, well, you know, it's okay for you're a confident person, or this person, they're confident. I'm not a confident person. I can't think that way. Well, you know, my question is, at what point did you decide that you're not a confident person? You know, none of us are born confident. It comes with time. When, you know, when we're babies, none of us are confident. We're completely dependent on our parents and guardians, you know. So it comes with time. You know, we can't walk up one, we can't ride a bike. You know, we try, we fall over all the time. You know, but slowly, step by step, we kind of learn to walk. We learn to ride a bike. We get on, and we keep on going. And you know, that never leaves us. It's the same as when we're adults. You know, we're always growing. So it builds. And for me personally, the best way I say to, you know, to find confidence or build confidence is it's to pay attention, not ignore the daily rituals. So for example, the first thing I do each day is I make my bed. Why? Because it's a positive step. Then I tend to go for a run and hit the gym. And I'm not saying you have to do that. But the reason I do it is because that's 3 positives in a row. And then I want to take that positivity, because I'm fired up then, and I think, great, I've done that, I've done this, right? That mindset then follows me into the workplace, and I'm thinking, right, I want to you know, do my best in the next task I've got to do, and so on. So I'd say, you know, do that, keep you know, raising your standards, and follow the daily rituals. So if you know, even if you've got to make a phone call, and it's an important call, make it the best one you can make. If you've got to send an email to someone, again, it's an important one. It's not a casual one. Well, make it the best one you can make. And I'm telling you, if you give your best to every single small situation, confidence comes naturally. It's not something you have to work on and ask for. You get that. You start seeing, wow, I did that. And all those little things start having a big effect. Again, back to the momentum, you get that snowball effect going, and you want to continue, and you're growing and growing. And it comes from that. So I'd say keep raising your standards. You know, build the momentum, and don't ignore the daily rituals. Keep working on them. Right. Getting at the end here. So my last, stay true to yourself. You have no one to impress but your customers, and no one to prove anything to but yourself. That's one of mine. You know, I see a lot of people, what I would say is they often focus on trying to say, look the part as opposed to be the part. And I think that's quite futile. It happens, I've seen it a lot in businesses, you know, especially in the startup phase. There's a well-known fact that I think 90% of startups fail. Probably what's not so well known is that when, you know, I looked into this further out, trying to discover the reasons why they were failing, a lot of it was down to ego-based reasons. The founders, you know, for example, were so focused on, you know, looking at, they had a great idea, they knew what they were doing. Yeah, I've got a vision, which is all great, but if, you know, not at the cost of making a big mistake. That, you know, they ignored experts, they would not listen, and they were so adamant they were right. They just plowed on down this road where it was wrong because they were so busy trying to look like they knew what they were doing, and it fails. So I think, you know, never do that. You have nothing to prove to anyone but yourself. That's really, really important. And also it makes these what I call fork in the road moments a lot easier too when you always stay honest and true yourself. And what I'm trying to illustrate here is it's a situation I'm certain all of us can relate to. We've all been in situations where we hit a crossroads in our life and there's a decision to make. It's a big decision. We could, you know, maybe it's a job we actually don't like, we hate, or a relationship we're in that we kind of want out of, or something. And we know that we can continue down and say what looks the easy road, stay as things are, but ultimately we know we're never really going to be happy. It's not really where we want to go. Or we can take the left path, the harder path, which we know is going to be absolute hell to go through. We're going to really have to, you know, dig deep in ourselves and find some inner strength that we never knew we had, you know, something that really, you know, some inner confidence that we never knew we had, but it's going to be hell to go through. But ultimately, at the end of that, we know that's where we need to be and where we want to be. So always follow your heart, stay true to yourself, and always take the hard roads when you know that's the right thing to do. It's an important one. And my final slide, another great quote, which I'm quite fond of. A ship is safe and hard, but that's not what ships are built for. I don't believe that any of us really are born to be wrapped in bubble wrap from cradle to grave. That's not really what we're here. I truly don't, believe that. Life is a little dangerous. It is hard, but anything worth doing never comes easy. So, that's also those hard, where the hardness is, that's where the adventure lies. That's where the growth happens. And that's where the fulfillment is. That's really what I feel life is about. It's about doing it. So my final words to you would just be, never let the fear of failure hold you back, or the fear of success hold you back, or the fear of change hold you back. Never give up, never stop growing. Always keep pushing yourself, and never, ever, ever fall into the trap of being comfortable. Keep growing, keep pushing yourself. Do your absolute best, and I can guarantee to you there is absolutely no situation that you will face, COVID, whatever, anything. There is nothing that can stop you getting where you want to go, as long as you really truly in your heart believe that and you pursue it with all you've got. You will get there, and I really wish you all the very best on that journey. And hopefully I may meet you someday when all this is over, and I would look forward to that. So until then, take care, my friends, and thanks very much for listening.